Welcome to another Feel Good Friday edition of Real Talk with me, Azania Mosaka. My first week standing in for Anele has been incredible, and the love that I've been receiving from all of you on social media has been absolutely awesome, so thank you. Well, on the subject of social media, today's show explores the world of digital entrepreneurship and how to build brands online and make a lucrative career while seemingly living your best life on Instagram and Twitter. I'll be joined by social media entrepreneurs whose following allows them to connect big brands with the people on the streets. We'll also learn the tricks of how to commercialize your feed without ruining your reputation. Later in the show, ventriloquism is the topic with the puppet guy. But first, let's welcome Tshepang Mollison, popularly known on the Twitter and IG streets as Twiggy Molly. Welcome, Twiggy or Tshepang, what do you prefer?
You can call me Twiggy because we're on TV.
And that's what most people refer to you as.
Yes, exactly.
So the term influencer gets thrown around quite loosely.
Yeah.
And you're someone who refers to yourself as an influencer. How do you define it?
I mean, an influencer is someone that obviously has the power to persuade like their friends or their audience, whether large or small, to behave in a certain way, think in a certain way, and obviously buy products in a certain way.
Yeah. So what are your values though? As an influencer, of course, you have to have these pillars that you communicate, that you keep consistent in how you communicate.
I guess my values is to always remain like original and authentic. But because of the way things have changed and how like how like our industry has become, you obviously do sort of like change that sometimes. Like if a brand that you don't really engage with in your personal like everyday life comes to you, you have to sort of like be like, okay, I need these coins, so let me just work with them. So yeah.
So that's what guides you, the bottom line, the kitchen.
The coins, yeah.
Ooh. So is this your main source of income?
Yes, it is. I'm an influencer 9 to 5.
Full time?
Full time.
Wow.
Yeah.
What were you doing before that?
I worked at an ad agency for like 8 months, and then I was like, I can't do this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was the quitting of the job that came first, not necessarily being an influencer and realizing that this can actually be lucrative.
Yeah, I mean, while I was working in agency, I was still running my blog. I started my blog while I was in varsity, but I didn't know you could make money out of it or gain any fame. I just really loved writing. And then I went into agency because of what I had studied. And then when my boss was just getting hectic, I was like, I actually don't need this. I want to go do my own thing. And my mom wasn't happy about it, obviously, because like, being a blogger then it wasn't a real thing. It wasn't a real career. Like how was I going to get money every month? So yeah, I just stuck it out.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is your blog all about?
My blog focuses on lifestyle and fashion. Even though I don't really write as often as I used to before, it's still like the place that I go back to just for myself more than like whoever's reading it or for brands. Yeah.
So let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Do the brands approach you or do you approach them?
At the beginning, I would let brands approach me because I didn't think I was allowed to approach them.
Right.
But now that I've built like the credibility and stuff, I approach brands that I feel match my brand, and I just propose like a campaign and say, let's work, this could be mutually beneficial for both of us, let's see what we can do. And most of the times the brands say yes. So
you actually go as far as to propose a part of, or to infuse and add yourself to their strategy.
Yeah.
You come up with the whole concept for them.
Exactly.
So not necessarily, they don't come to you and say, this is what we're doing, how can you play a part?
I guess
or does it go both ways?
Yeah, it goes both ways, because with some brands, obviously, I don't know what their strategy for the year is. So I can't necessarily say, oh, you guys are doing A, B, and C, I see myself fitting in here. So I just look at whatever products they have and I say, well, this could be cool if I'm traveling, or this could be cool if I'm going to this gig or whatever. So that's how I just fit myself in. But sometimes if it's a brand I've been working with like long term, then they do share their strategy. And then I say, okay, this will be cool for me, this won't be cool for me, and so forth. Yeah.
So what are the brands that you've worked with?
I've worked with Levi's, with Absolute Vodka, Clarence.
Wow.
Can't think of anything. Red Bull.
These are big names that do below and above the line.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's look at the money. How do you charge per campaign?
So when I first started, I had signed up onto a platform called Webfluential, and Webfluential basically calculates how much you're worth on your Twitter, your blog, your YouTube, whatever.
Is this based on your following?
Yes, based on your following and your engagement and your reach. So I looked at those figures and I'm like, okay, this seems pretty reasonable. But as time goes by, you talk to your other friends that are in the circles in the industry, and you're like, hey, I'm charging 1,000 Rand for one Instagram post, and they'll be like, are you crazy? That's so little. Wow. Like, you need to go up a little bit higher. So I think it just depends on the brand. Some brands are willing to take you at your full rate, and some you have to negotiate down. It depends on who's asking for what.
So at the moment, where have you benchmarked, say, a tweet?
A tweet's like 1,000 Rand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Instagram?
Like 5,000 Rand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Just for a single post?
Yeah, like the reason why we charge so high is because there's a photographer that has to take the really good quality photo. I'm not going to use my iPhone to take a photo that's going to go onto my Instagram. There's time. There's also thinking about how am I going to style this outfit, or how am I going to put together this flat lay. So there's a lot of thinking that goes behind it for me to just be like, oh, I'll do it for free. No.
Yeah.
That's a no-no.
Oh, did you do work for free though in the beginning?
Yeah, in the beginning, because obviously you're trying to make your mark and show the quality that you can produce. So at the beginning you do have to work for free, but eventually you have to say, okay, even if it's 500 Rand or 200 Rand, just you have to show the brand that you're worth something, and then eventually you can go higher and higher.
So take me through your day. What do you do from the minute you wake up to the end of the day? Is it 9 to 5 hours? Do you require that kind of discipline?
No. The reason why I left a 9 to 5 traditional job is because I hated being confined to those hours. So my typical day would be me waking up, go on Instagram immediately for the first hour of the morning. Immediately? Yes. I have to check my social media first thing in the morning. Go to the gym, and then when I get back from the gym, then I'll look at my emails and see, okay, I owe this brand this post, I need to invoice this brand this, whatever. Every day is different. Sometimes I have meetings, sometimes I have shoots, sometimes I'm away in Cape Town for a week. So every day and every week and every month is very different.
And how active do you have to be? Because there's also that understanding that there's a direct correlation.
Yeah.
The level of activity equates sort of followership, that it delivers followership.
I mean, I literally have to be on social media every day. I need to be on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram every day, engaging with my followers, my friends, just so I can remain relevant. I was even thinking last night, I really just want to disappear and disconnect, but then that means no money.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it.
You can't afford a digital detox.
You really can't. And I mean, it does get to you, it wears its toll on you, but you have to just remain consistent. You always have to be engaging with whatever's going on, even with your what your fellow influencers are doing. Oh, you got written about on Vogue, well done. You need to congratulate each other, engage with each other's content, and that's how we gain followers. Yeah.
And then on the question of other people and how they're doing it, have you modeled yourself around somebody else? Or do you look at other people, other influencers, and think, this is the direction I want to head in?
I think at the beginning, when I was blogging, mainly blogging, I had looked at the Cape Town bloggers.
Okay.
Obviously, because I was living in Cape Town, I was like, there aren't any black bloggers. I want to be like Aisha Baker. I want to be like Talia Goldberg. So that's how I had started. And I wasn't getting any jobs in Cape Town. I was just getting invited to events and stuff. But I went to all of them. And that's how I sort of made a name for myself. So by the time I came to Joburg, then all the brands are inviting me, doing the same thing, but they're now offering me jobs. So I think at the beginning, the Cape Town bloggers were the people I was looking at to see how things are done. And now I'm sort of looking at the international influencers to see how they're doing things, how they're getting trips, how they're writing their proposals, who they're approaching and stuff. Because I feel like right now we're all looking at each other. So if I look at someone else, if I look at Lulama or Trevor, then we're all just going to be the same.
Yeah, your originality.
Yeah, so I think a lot of us actually are looking at, all the big influencers are looking internationally, while the ones that are still coming up are looking at us.
Yes.
And they're all doing work that's like us. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I follow you and I enjoy your feed.
Thank you.
And I enjoy your blog. Well, Twiggy has offered us really great insights into the world of being an influencer. After the break, Nkanyezi Kubeka joins the conversation and tells us more about being a social entrepreneur. Now, if you're in any way inspired to become an influencer, take a look at this.
According to social media expert Tammy Braze, social media influencers are going beyond the likes and are now getting paid. Welcome Erica Lagenza. Her Coming Up Roses blog has seen her collaborate with big companies like Starbucks and Capital One.
When I first started, I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, nobody does. So I think my first sponsored post was literally just someone reaching out like, hey, can we partner together to talk about this product? We'll give you $50 on the product. And I was like, oh, sure, this is great. So now, obviously, it's very different since it's my full-time job.
So how do you get in the game? You don't need millions of followers, but you do need a plan. Start by picking your niche.
A social media influencer is someone with a significant following in a particular niche, whether that is cars or clothing or beauty. And their followers look to the influencer for advice on what to buy, what products to use, where to travel, and how to live their lives.
Keep it focused by starting a separate account and keep your cat to your personal Instagram.
If you're sharing pictures of your breakfast cereal and of your cat, those things are totally unrelated to your niche and they're going to throw people off.
Next, brand yourself. That means thinking like a marketer.
Pick a few basic colors that you're going to stick with and pick the same 1 or 2 filters and use those same ones consistently every time you post. You want the feed to be visually appealing. You don't want it to be a mishmash. The goal is that when someone sees one of your posts, they say, aha, it's the color scheme, the filter. They know it's from you immediately.
Finally, you can't expect companies to come to you, so take the initiative and contact brands.
I pitch brands myself, and I figure that's kind of the best way to have a really ideal collaboration that is the best possible fit for my blog. So I'll pitch brands often myself, and I'll work on building relationships myself so that I can really cater the content to what the Coming Up Roses audience will really like the best.
But even when the money comes rolling in, remember to sound like a friend, not an infomercial in your posts.
Give it some meat that people would trust and that people would take action on. And if you can do that and like effectively talk about something so that other people ask you about it and say, hey, can I know more about that? That sounded really cool.
The bottom line, the best way to make it work is to follow your bliss.
Pick something that you're passionate about because that way it's fun for you and it's something you're interested in no matter what, regardless of whether there's a check coming in. People can tell when that authentic love for what you're talking about is there behind the post. That's what people cling to.
Hello and welcome back to Real Talk. Joining Twiggy and I is a guy who started off as a DJ, but has since positioned himself as the go-to guy across multiple social media platforms for some of the country's biggest brands, rather. So join me in welcoming Nkanyezi Kubeka. Nkanyezi, great to have you here.
Yo, man, I'm so excited to be here, actually.
Yeah, we're talking about the thing that occupies your day.
Yeah.
So you refer to yourself as a social media entrepreneur. What's the difference between that and being an influencer?
An influencer is how I started, actually, you know, tweeting for brands.
So this is levels.
Yes, exactly. And then I ended up, you know, now brands come to me and be like, okay, you know, we're looking for a certain number of people. We just want a trend. So I go out there and I gather influencers and they come, you know, and then make an offer, make a good deal. And then, and then you end up actually paying the influencers straight from the brand pays you, and then you pay the influencers.
I see. Yeah. So when there's something breaking, and we see all these people talking about it, these are influencers whose job it is to push this content to everybody's attention.
Yeah, I just told you the secrets.
That's the secret. Yeah, why we have these trending topics. You're like, what is that? What's going on? And then you just naturally tap in, and then you find out. So this is how you reach us, in fact, through influencers. Fantastic. How many people approximately do you
to trend, you actually need to have more than 10 people tweeting about the same activity or hashtag, and each person has to go beyond 3 to 4 tweets. You definitely get a trend.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is power in hashtags. And Twiggy, I want to hear your thoughts as well. How a hashtag is crafted, how catchy it is, just how it rolls, in fact, has a lot to do with its success.
It's very powerful. I mean, To see a brand or to see certain thing trending, obviously everybody, when you go on your Twitter, on your social media feed and you see, okay, Twiggy's trending, you want to know why.
Yes.
So that's how you actually drive traffic to the actual brand, and that's how a brand, you know, get excited in working with a certain influencers, because if you can make something trend, then that's good money there.
You're winning.
Yeah, you're winning.
So how do you create your own personal pricing structure? Is there an industry standard?
Yeah.
Is there a guide that you adhere to?
South Africa, actually, when it comes to social media, you know, we're still new to this, and honestly, so many brands are still confused trying to break down the numbers.
Yeah.
As Twiggy mentioned earlier on, with Web Influential, that's how it began. Because before it, we didn't know how much to charge. But after Web Influential, now we have an idea how to charge. And sometimes we do ask, you know, certain influencers, or they call it promo Twitter. You know, we ask them, okay, how much would you charge me to push something for a certain time or a certain period? And then they give you that amount. And then you look at that amount, and then you look at the Web Influential amount, and that's how you can tell, okay, this is how we can work with. You know, so a different brand or a different campaign, rather, you know, it has its own different, what can I say, charging aspects, because you cannot say, Twiggy, maybe she can't say, because I charge 1,500, I'm expecting, you know, a certain person to actually, so you need to know why you're charging that amount.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and Twiggy, this is for you as well. Which has the biggest following, and where are you seeing the most traction as far as social media platforms are concerned?
I think personally for me, my Instagram, because I feel like I'm really good at taking a good picture, and people want to see visuals.
Yeah.
They want to literally see my life in motion on my Insta stories. So I think that's where I get the most traction. But on Twitter, that's where I get the most engagement, because we're literally talking to our followers, our friends, engaging in whatever's happening on that day. Yeah.
And for you, Nkanyisi, do you also, because you use multiple social media platforms?
Yeah. Twitter is the best for me, because, you know, on Instagram, you can't say a lot of things unless you're posting a very funny video.
Yeah.
But Twitter is actually the best platform for me, yeah.
And do you use each one to drive to the other?
Every time I post something, I post on all social networks at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So on average, it's said that an Instagram user follows 100+ people. So how do you create content? In order for them to engage with you?
I think how I create my content is whatever I'm doing or whatever I'm interested in that time. Like there was a time in 2014 when all I was interested in was like hip hop music. So I'd go to concerts and like shoot pictures of like our local acts. So right now I'm obsessed with travel. So that's what my content is like focused on. So places that I'm going to, or what like meals I'm eating, stuff like that. That's how I create my content.
So out of just the life that you're leading?
Yeah, literally.
Right. So at what point, when we think of followers, at what point do you think is the threshold in order for you to be an influencer? Is there a point where we say you have 100,000 followers, so therefore you qualify?
Actually, we can't put people under pressure, but I've realized that when a brand wants you, they always, like, you know, they start from around about, do you have 5,000 followers?
Yeah.
Do you have 10?
Oh, 5? Is that a 5?
No, do you have 15? So I think it's best, if you want to get into the influencer job, you know, you need to be standing around about 5,000 to be safe.
At least.
If you have less, then your engagement has to be real. Like, you need to be the realist. Yeah.
So, Twiggy, you said you get paid in cash.
Yeah.
Right.
And products sometimes.
And products.
Yeah.
Okay. And for you, Nkanyisi?
It's both, actually. Yeah.
It's both as well. What do you prefer?
Prefer both. I prefer both because there's influencers, you know, we actually get cars, we get clothes.
Sure.
Yeah.
You get cars?
I do get cars.
Wow. Wow. As in
So,
for a period, right? Not
yeah,
to
it's actually for a period. You get a contract to drive a car for like 3 months or sometimes 6 months. And if you're lucky, man, it's a year contract. And, you know, it's a brand new car, you don't pay for it. Sometimes they give you like gas, depending where you're going.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes like, no, you can just have a car and bring it back after 12 months. And that is just cool, you know.
What about the ethics, guys?
Yeah.
Do you actually mention that this is a paid-for post? You don't?
You're not allowed to say that. You must be real. You cannot be posting like when I see your tweet, I can see that, you know what, this is actually, you know, a paid tweet. So
But is it
has
ethical?
to be.
Is it ethical for you not to tell me? Because some countries have legislated, they're saying that paid for posts need to have an indication that paid for by, or this is an ad for.
No.
We don't at the moment.
Not yet. No, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, though? In the sense that your followers have no idea that you're actually pushing, or you are influencing and persuading them in a particular way.
I think this is the part where you actually make a decision. When a brand approaches you, you make a decision whether you want to deal with this or you don't want to, you know, because you don't want to end up tweeting about something you don't even like. It's like, it's pointless, you know? So it's like tweeting about a certain show that you don't even watch. Next thing I come to the show, you're asking me about it. So I saw you tweeting about this. I have no idea, what is it? See, so those are the things you actually have to look at.
That authentic voice, it has to be true to what we know of Nkanyezi, what we know of Twiggy. It has to be authentic, right? Whew, there is still a lot of mystery. We've heard a lot, but for me, there's still a lot of mystery that surrounds the world of social media as a career. And the question remains, is it or is it not? You can send us your questions via Twitter or just drop us a 20-second voice note on our WhatsApp line to find out more. We have one more guest joining us for this conversation, so stay tuned. Welcome back. To now shift the conversation that I've been having with Twiggy and Nkanyezi onto how to commercialize your feed and also talk about brand reputation, we're joined by digital maven and brand building expert, the man holding down the fort at Orchard on 25 PR agency. It's Jay Badza. Hello, Jay.
Wow, that was quite an intro.
You are holding down the fort. What do you mean?
Oh, I'm trying.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Well, this is you trying. I'd hate to see when you're actually doing it. So we see a lot of social media influencers living quite the lavish life. Is it real, or is it a sponsored lifestyle?
I think it's a little bit of both. Brands like to align themselves with people who are really authentic, who look like they're living the lifestyle, so that they can be able to use them as a medium to sell their products. So every time we identify somebody to work on a particular campaign, it is because we have actually looked at the lifestyle that they're currently living, and we can see that, okay, they're in the right LSM of the consumer that we're trying to target, and that they can also, they look like they can afford what we're trying to sell, so that it comes authentically to the consumer once they start putting any brand communication on their feed.
In the past, you've helped a number of individuals build their brands and, of course, also become influencers. Take me through that process and just some of the people on your books that you've helped to build to this level.
Geez, you know, I've worked across the board on, you know, quite a lot of interesting campaigns.
Look at you being humble. Drop the humility. We want the scoop.
I used to manage Bonang for 5 years. I think she's one of the most exciting brands I've ever, you know, had to work with in my career. And I think, you know, during that tenure, we pioneered some really amazing campaigns. Her being the first Revlon brand ambassador in the African continent, and then obviously signing up with Ciroc, and obviously the lingerie partnership with Woolworths. So it's really been one of those, you know, interesting personalities and brands, and just trying to find the right fit for her personality and for her audience. Because, you know, Bonang is somebody who came from SABC 1, you know, live, and then she transitioned into, you know, a more premium space, which was SABC 3. And it also meant that we had to work a little bit harder in order to then start matching her with the right brands in the right profile. And it was an interesting brand challenge for us, because you want to ensure that while somebody is transitioning from point A to point B, they do not lose an audience that they have known and loved for such a long time. So you want to almost migrate with them and not do it too abruptly. And, you know, just like Twiggy was saying earlier on, you know, she used to love hip hop and should, you know, always post about, you know, local artists and talent and all of that stuff. And now as she migrates, you know, into this travel and food space, face, she also wants to make sure that she is migrating with her followers. Otherwise, you know, the followers are going to go, we actually liked you because of A, B, and C, and you're not that person anymore. Yeah, which causes you know, a little bit of a challenge. And because, you know, those consumers feel like they own you, they can be able to challenge you on social media and say, but what are you doing right now?
Let's look at the science now. Does this translate to sales? If I'm a brand and I'm looking at Twiggy, I'm looking at Nkanyezi, and I think these are the people that I can use to push my brand and to get it into the hands of more people, does this translate to sales and a difference in the bottom line?
It does. I think, you know, the way I look at influencers is probably a little bit more differently, I guess, because I come from a marketing background. So I look at them as a channel. So we are buying an advertising channel where we're looking for eyeballs. We're looking to connect with consumers. And we see that every time we are running a campaign, there's a peak in terms of sales.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we just, you know, did a Castle Milk Stout campaign for Black Panther with Nkanyezi. And there was, you know, a significant rise in the number of people who were not only engaging with the brand on social media, but actually going to the bottle store and buying the product because they were seeing all these exciting activities that were happening. And I think because the campaign was such a good, feel-good moment for Black people, people then said, oh, we have to support this brand because it's got our back.
Right, so that's the success side of things.
Yes.
What happens when it doesn't translate to sales?
So sometimes brands are not often looking for sales. Sometimes they're actually looking for awareness. You know, when brands are introducing themselves to the new market, especially when talking about global brands or brands that have just recently been formed, sometimes what they're looking for, because it's a long-term strategy. So sometimes they're really looking for awareness. They want people to know where they're available, what their product is all about, and how much you know, their price point is. So they'll use influencers in order to start that conversation so that when they see the product on the shelves, they can be able to consider it. Right. So sometimes, yeah, it's very different. Every brand has got its own objective. However, you know, there are a couple of examples where you look at somebody's lifestyle and she's, you know, I always get into trouble because it's my favorite example. But, you know, when you think of, you know, the likes of Connie Ferguson and, you know, like, you know, with, was it Ella Rins or Joshua Doe, there is just no synergy between the two brands. You know, everybody watches Connie Ferguson as Karabo Moroka. You know, she's a high-powered, influential businesswoman. And when she's trying to push Joshua Doe, you know, it doesn't really, you know, connect with the consumer. Yeah. So people are sitting there thinking, what a misfit, you know. So sometimes there are situations like that where it could be a bit harmful to your brand when you are aligning with somebody who just doesn't look like they go to Joshua Doe. But if she was doing it for Bacchus Brothers or any of those, you know, luxury brands, then it comes across more authentic because people assume that celebrities have got money. And also if you're playing a character that is very wealthy, they want to see you living the life.
That
so when you're saying, oh,
right.
Yeah, but
that's actually a great insight. I love that. We have to be very careful of pitfalls like that if you're going to go this route of being an influencer. But now I want your tips, guys. There are lots of people watching at home. They're thinking, they follow you, they wonder how you do it, they have a little bit more insight. Twiggy, give me like 3 things that you think people should do or guard against.
I think if you're trying to go into the space, you have to be authentic. Don't do it because Twiggy's doing it and she's getting this much money. Your quality is better than your quantity. So I think personally, if you have amazing content, that's way better than having 10,000 followers. And then I think the third one is just to like be original. Like, don't look at what I'm doing and try copy it. It's just not going to work because there's only one Twiggy. So be your own, whoever you are.
Okay. And for you, Nkanyezi?
For me, it's actually the same. And also, man, stop retweeting everything.
Have an original thought.
Exactly. Like, I can't go to, you know, Jay's timeline and then I don't see nothing about Jay. How am I going to be working with him?
Right.
Like, I'm trying to find someone I can work with, and then I get there, all I see is Twiggy stuff, and I see is Zanya stuff. There's nothing about Jay. So I think that's just be authentic, you know, and let us know who you are. There's no point of having a lot of followers if you don't know who you are. Yeah. So share whatever you want us to know. Not everything, keep it limited, but just let us know who you are.
Yes, right. So that ability to self-edit is important,
Yes.
manage what you put out.
Yeah.
But Jay, how does someone come back if they've ruined their reputation online? What is your quick advice around that?
So the good news with social media is that people forget. You know, you might be a trending topic today, and then, Donald Trump does something that is more hilarious than you, and then people will move on, and they quickly, start focusing on something else. So I always say that don't comment too much if you have made a mistake. No comment is often the way to go about it, because then you don't give people more ammunition. Because every time you try to justify yourself or your actions, there is somebody else who is either in feminist Twitter or black Twitter or food Twitter or somewhere who, think that they know it all, and they're going to jump onto that topic and try to drag you, So what you always have to try to do whenever you've made a mistake, just make sure that the content disappears and do not comment. Go into hiding for 48 hours. By the time you come back, somebody else is already in trouble. So
That's somebody else's turn. That's just the nature of social media. It's like the wild, wild west out there. But thank you so much to Jay, Nkanyezi, and Twiggy. Fantastic insights. Whether you're a serial poster, rather, or your pics get like 5 likes, it is clear that social media is serious business. And no matter what kind of business you're in, it's also important to see yourself as a brand, especially in this digital age. So after tonight's episode and before your next post, maybe think a little bit more about what you're advertising about yourself and your interests. After the break, we'll be joined by ventriloquist Conrad Koch and his right-hand man, the controversial and hilarious Chester Missing. Stay right there. Today's show has been all about building a brand on social media. And if you're looking for someone who will spill the proverbial political tea, so to speak, then Chester Missing is your guy. Chester is able to say all the things most people are thinking without the repercussions that you and I might face. Chester doesn't come alone, of course. These two are literally joined at the hip. And he's joined by Emmy-nominated puppeteer Conrad Koch, of course. Welcome.
Hey, Azania, thanks. Yeah, it's an honor. It's nice to see you. Wow.
Chester, the last time I saw you, we were at the 54th conference of the ANC in
I
December.
remember.
So
at Nazareth.
At Nazareth,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
great. That was rock and roll. There were a lot of tatats there, weren't there? Oh, jokes. And I'm just talking about media.
And look at you. I like the new look,
And
by the
Dick,
way.
do you like it? Hey? Yes, I know. I borrowed these clothes from Sorranatoza. What? We're the same height. What?
Oh, but Conrad, great to see you.
Thanks. Yes, I'm really excited to be here. It's fun. I always see this show, and it seems like such a great conversation piece. So we're both. This is your first week.
It's my first week standing in.
Hello.
Absolutely.
Well, we know you do wonderfully everywhere you go. So it's an honor. Honor.
I just can't get over it. He's just so handsome.
I know. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice. Big shiny head, I think it is. Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
That's scope. So, Chester.
I was thinking, what brand could I align with? And they are latex, and maybe Durex or Avantgarde, or I don't know.
Great fit.
Jay will have to tell me. Jay will tell me. Yeah.
Exactly. That would be a great fit.
Yes.
So, Chester, you've managed to interview a whole ton of people. Very powerful, very famous people.
Yes,
and they
it's
keep
amazing.
coming back.
They
It must
do.
be your charm, right?
Yeah, I think it is. I smell nice as well. Fruits of the valley. I cover myself in yogurt every day.
And you're a political animal. We always see how quickly you respond when news breaks.
Yes.
And you're there with your satire and
Yes,
that
yes.
tongue of yours.
Yes, I have no tongue. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. No tongue. That I do. I think politicians, they like to let their hair down in a sense. They like to just open up and have some fun. And normally there's so much pressure. I mean, it gets hectic. I had Sutra Mahamatelo try to kiss me.
Oh,
try
no.
to kiss me. I know. I felt like Northwest was. I literally got touched by a province.
And of course, that's one of the big news stories of
It is.
today.
Cyril Ramaphosa flew back for that.
Yes, he
That must have
did.
been hectic. He flew southeast to get to northwest. Oh!
The wit of this man,
I
he's
know.
way too charming.
I know. I
But
love it.
Conrad, working with Chester, he gives you such a hard time.
Thor. You know you work on me. I've got $360,000 on Twitter, and he's got like 2.
So you're the one that brings the limelight to him.
I am. In his entire career. Without me, he would be nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's like, I'm Musi Nani and you're Helen Zell. Dude, my career is rocking. How did
you come across Conrad? What were you doing before that?
Oh, no, I was lying in the street. I found him, and then he didn't know who he was.
Oh.
I didn't know where I came. And I thought that I wasn't born like you, Azania. I don't have the family. I just thought that. I feel like, you know, Dodezane Zuma is still similar sometimes. Dude, don't go there. What? It's your career. I know. And then, but then he didn't know who he was. So we took him to the police station. We asked, you know, we don't know who this guy is.
Yeah.
And I said, no. They said, what's your surname? I said, I don't know. And I said, I'm missing. I said, that's your name, missing. That's why it's Chester missing. I don't know who I am. I know it's sad.
How nice of you.
Well,
really
he
nice
makes
of you,
money
Conrad.
out of me. Seriously, the only work I can get is on 50 Shades of Grey as a sex toy.
Oh, so you actually made his career, in fact.
Yes, I did. Are you not
made your
listening,
career.
Arizona? Yes, exactly. He's riding on my life. It's hectic. It's like, don't go there.
But on a serious note, you studied anthropology.
Oh, you're going to go there.
Yes,
please.
I'm going to go there,
It's the study
Chester.
of white guilt. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Not even as a word anthropology in it. Anthropology. I'm sorry. It's an interesting topic. Okay, go ask your question.
So does that help you, Conrad, in being able to relate to people of all sorts of backgrounds?
I think it does. I think it gives the politics a nuance. So we know, like, if I deal with Jacob Zuma, we'll never write a joke about it. Like when Jacob Zuma, he's getting married again now, that we won't write jokes about that because it touches on to dealing with African culture. So that kind of nuance and how to deal with privilege and so on. You know, it is weird being a white guy going into Lutuli House and interviewing Uncle Gweezy.
Don't you just miss him?
I do. No, he's not gone. He's still
No,
there.
he's not. Of course, he's a minister now. But he was a great Secretary General.
He
entertaining.
was, yeah. In fact, we asked him a question at Nasdaq. I don't know if you saw that.
No, tell me.
We asked him, I went to ask the official question. I thought that asked the question. And what you asked him, I said, because he's now the chairperson of the ANC. And Belekembet, as everyone who's seen Parliament, was also the chairperson of the ANC. So Chester asked him if he's also going to use dancers in Parliament. And he said, yes, he's going to use the army. Yo, hectic. I pooed a little bit. I know, and I don't even have the digestive systems.
Oh my goodness, Chester, you know, behave yourself,
Sorry.
behave yourself. So how do you feel, Chester, knowing that for the upcoming show, the other puppets will be brought out, that you're not going to own the limelight like you have?
No, it's okay, and you got to work with other people, and I like them, they're nice. It's actually a really fun show. In fact, I think that's something's really developed just now, is we're friends like we never were before. Yeah, we're mates, we go for drinks.
Oh, things better between the two of you
Yeah,
now.
we've really, so we went to therapy, he went to therapy. How does that work? Spoke to yourself. No, don't go. Dude, what? Are you upset? What, it's like being on another TV channel starting at A and ending at 7. Don't go there. Don't go there.
You guys need a room. You need a room.
Oh, who's your daddy? It's just him. No, so the show is really fun. It's called Puppet Guy, and we've got these amazing other characters. I've got this mosquito puppet. He's very scared, Azania, because he's a mosquito, and the audience claps. That's how his dad died. I know, it's hectic.
And is the ostrich lady
the ostrich
coming back?
well, there's a male ostrich now, and his name's Hilton, and he's made out of feather dusters. I put a puppet together on stage. You've got a DJ puppet, an actual puppet who really DJs.
Sure.
Yeah, I DJ with my feet. You have to see it. It's getting standing ovations in Cape Town. It's a very, very fun show. You know Snapchat?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does Snapchat live on stage. You've got a huge cell phone. It's massive, the size of an old Nokia.
I remember those.
Yes, and then we project someone's face from the audience onto the screen and make them talk. It's an insanely fun show.
You project someone's face on the screen and
So
make
imagine you
them
come on
talk.
stage, and then he takes his phone out, and their faces on this huge cell phone, and then he uses Snapchat on them. So we change their face on a screen the size of this wall here,
Wow.
and then I make them talk. It's hilarious and it's fun. And unlike other work that I've done before, it's not so political. No, we're having a lot more fun.
It's more fun.
It's totally playful. It's got a full house, standing ovations in Cape Town, and I know it's at Monte Casino now. I know that Joe Burgers come out and have a really fun time. We do too. You say it on the pulse, and Helen Ziller, her voice sounds like Daisy Hero. Hello. Oh, yeah, hello. And it's at Monte Casino at the little studio theater up there, and people must come. You book a compu ticket.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
When does it start? On the 25th of April to the 27th of May. Yeah, it's a very, very funny show. Then anyone who's 13 and up will laugh their kahunas off. Don't say that. Well, I don't care. I don't have.
I don't think he has. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
Oh.
Chester. Sorry, Chester.
Oh.
Sorry, Chester.
Oh.
Chester and Conrad have a new show at the Teatro at Monte Casino.
I wanna be
starting
an
on April the
influencer.
25th. That's next week, Wednesday.
Yes.
So after the break, they'll tell us a little bit more, and I also want to explore the art and the skill of ventriloquism
Yes.
with Conrad Koch.
I am here at the launch of the EFF manifesto. As you can see, look at this huge queue. It's exactly like 1994, except in this situation, the Buddha's name is Cyril Ramaphosa. And they're trying to vote him out, because I think Julius found out the ANC will rule until Jesus returns, and he's planning on being Jesus.
Chester. If you've just joined us, you're in time for the final segment of the show. That was a clip of Chester being Chester. And I'm with him and Conrad Koch, and we're talking about their show, The Puppet Guy, which comes to the Teatro at Monte Casino from next week, the 25th of April, until the 27th of May. What a nice run.
I know it's exciting. It's actually at the studio theatre. Teatro is an enormous
Yes,
one. Yeah.
yeah.
It's but it is, and the idea is we're trying to be a world-class act. The thing is, South Africa is quite small, so we get to run through everyone very fast. So we want to get it really good here, and then just take it everywhere in the world. We're going to Canada as well, to a place called Regina.
Don't.
So awkward.
Do not.
So awkward.
Don't, Chester.
Touch me on my Regina. It's hectic. And Winnipeg and stuff. But it's more that we want to just let South Africans come have fun. As opposed to comedy that's always hard-hitting and satirical. It's not. Just have fun.
Yeah, yeah. So, Conrad, we've watched you over the years refine the skill of ventriloquism to the point where you're now Emmy nominated.
Yeah.
So just take me through that. I mean, what a
Azania,
craft
just
and
to
skill.
clarify that, sorry. I'm near the Emmy nominated. He wasn't on TV at the time.
Oh, sorry, Chester.
Okay. What? I'm just saying. It's a weird job in that I'm the only one that people know here, in general, a ventriloquist. So, a lot of people don't know, how does Chester talk? And they don't know he's literally throwing words in my mouth. So when I do this in the show, I show people how it works. Ventriloquism is the art of making a puppet talk without you looking like you're talking, but it's the same way as the TV's working now for people watching from home. The sound isn't coming from the screen. I know that's going to freak some of you out. What? I didn't know. It's coming from the speakers. No, don't say. It's coming from the speakers on the side. So what I'm doing with this show is trying to take ventriloquism further, which is why I'm making these amazing puppets, like taking off a hoodie and turning the hoodie into a DJ.
Yeah.
It's just something that's never been seen. Plus the social commentary with the ventriloquism is also something quite unusual in the world. So I'm very proud of it. I'm trying to make it good. Okay, we don't care.
Yeah, I mean, you need a good side act like Chester for it to be
Side
good.
act!
Oh, sorry, Chester.
Oh my God.
He's so sensitive.
Oh
Chester,
my
why
God.
are you so
I'm
sensitive?
not a side act. Oh my gosh. It's like the Nang Sinisi died. I'm not a side act. I'm not a side act. You can't say
Okay, you're
it.
the main guy.
Yeah, thank you.
You're the lead.
Thank you.
You're
yeah.
the one. You're the
No,
man.
we work together. The show needs to have nuance and tone and different types of experiences. So from getting someone up and making them talk to a mosquito that's terrified, to an ostrich that's totally hilarious and makes me dance, to a DJ puppet who takes Jacob Zuma going and Kandla Gupta and then plays that song, Turn Down for What?
Wow.
So, yeah, it's fun, it's nuanced, and so you get a good director and you can really build something that's every second. You know, sometimes you watch a show and you get a little bit bored, not a second of that. And I think that ventriloquism hasn't been explored in that way in South Africa, and I'm very excited to bring that to South Africans.
Yeah.
It certainly worked in Cape Town. I told the girls are going to love it. It's Nate that told the
Yeah, it's going to be sold out. Love it. So what's your routine before you go on stage?
I do my vocal nuts. What? I'm kidding.
Can we hear some of that?
La 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 la. I got to do my exercise stretch. I stretch. He stretches his hand. Well, show them. Look at that, Azania. That's knee naked. Oh!
No, you didn't.
I did. That's knee on the inside.
Poor Chester.
So, no,
Did you have
warm
to
up.
reveal that?
Oh, no, it's
traumatic.
hectic. I feel like we're looking at Playboy. Dude, who's your
Way too
daddy?
much. TMI.
Imagine sex with a ventriloquist. Who's your daddy? Who said that? Dude. But the warm-up is that we get the characters, I talk to everybody, we decide, are we ready for the show? And I really do mean, as you know, Chester exists. He's not, what do you mean I exist? That's hectic. Yeah, that's not a nice thing to say, but you do. For a lot of people, they talk to him and people ignore me, and Gwede Mantashe calls me Chester. Yeah.
But I think he needs to be nominated for one of the best dressed awards.
Thank you.
You need
Thank
one
you
of
like
those
this.
accolades.
Look at that there. Look at that there. There we go. Hey, look at that. Yeah, look at that. But the weird thing is that I got these shoes from Thekile and Balula. Yeah, he's my size apparently.
And I heard that Minister Malusi Gigaba gifted Chester like a set of ties.
Ties, yeah, like two ties for Christmas once. Yeah, it's hectic because it means I'm captured, and that's not a joke. I actually am captured.
Yes, by Conrad.
Yes, but I live in a suitcase. So these influencers need to tell me how I can get a 3 suitcase. It's weird. People get very upset when they put him in a suitcase, they drag him around. They're like, why are you putting Chester in a suitcase? I know, it's disgusting. You know, I have feelings too.
And isn't that a testament of how good you are at what you do? Because we've managed to separate the two of you and literally build a relationship with Chester.
Yes, well, I think that had a lot to do with Chester being on TV on his own, of course, and also just strong character work. So, are you talking about me in the third person? No, it is a weird bit. I'm talking about you while you're sitting right there. It's like you're gossiping. You know? So it's about getting a character that the world can relate to, plus the power dynamic of oppressed oppressor, puppet in a suitcase. I changed race. That was hectic.
Yes, it was.
It was hectic. I know. The thing is, I was
you
always
needed counselling as well.
Yes, it is. He thought he need to live in a suitcase and next none in. He need to go through. He need black to get cash. 6 years like I felt like you should get a job at Helen Ziller and Leon Schuster, calling themselves "Oh shucks, I'm privileged."
And messing around with your identity like that.
I know. Well, no, yes, I live in a suitcase. It's not easy. It's hectic. It's like renting a cat flat in Cape Town. So the question of what makes it relatable is that conversation. We all relate to having a difficult friend.
Yeah.
So it's like that. You know that friend that when they meet your new partner asks you, how's your ex doing? That person. Yeah.
And that's what he is for
Yes,
you. I love the
thank you.
two of you.
I love the Azania. You rock.
So glad that
killing
you're
it,
back
Liz.
on our stages.
Yes. Hala. So, Monte Casino. We'll see you guys there.
Bye, Chester.
I can't kiss.
Oh, man. And that's it for my first week on Real Talk. Thank you so much to Chester and Conrad. So that wraps up our first week on Real Talk with Anele, even though it's been with me, Azania. So a big thank you to all my guests. Do join me again next week. There'll be plenty to look forward to, including the fact that I'll be asking the question, whose English is it anyway? That's on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we'll be joined by Squatter Camp. They'll be in the building. Stay tuned for that. And then on Wednesday, Kenny Latimore will be my guest. Have a blessed weekend. Up next, we have Isidingo. Thank you for watching and good night.